Silent partnership is a definition. The word that comes from the expression on the earth, which means travelling for the purpose of business and trading. Thus, Allah has said in the Quran, others travelling yadribuna through the land seeking of Allah's bounty. It is also called karad, which comes from a word implying a portion, which is because creditor provides a portion of his wealth for anyone to do business with, and he receives a portion of the profits. The exact meaning of it here is a contract between two parties, which states that one will give the other one money in order to trade or do business with it, and the profit will be divided between them according to what they agree upon. Its legality. Wrote in his book, the scholars all agree that karad, a silent partnership by contributing only cash, is permissible. They also all agree that the labourer can give any condition concerning the contribution of profits that they agree upon, whether it be 1/3, 1/2, or whatever, as long as it is something known and a fixed portion. The companions of the Messenger of Allah used to practice this type of business arrangement. Noted that his father said, and Ubaydullah, two sons of Umar ibn al-Khattab, took part in an army going out to Iraq. On their return, they passed by Abu Musa, who was the governor of Basra. He welcomed them and then said, if I were able to do something to benefit the two of you, I would do so. Then he said, certainly I can. Here is some wealth from the wealth of Allah. I wish to send it to the commander of the faithful, Umar ibn al-Khattab. I will loan it to you, and you can buy some merchandise with it from Iraq and then sell it in Medina. Then give the principal to the commander of the faithful, and the profit can be for you too. They said, we would like that, so they did that. He then wrote to Umar ibn al-Khattab to take the principal from them. When they came to Medina, they made a profit and gave the principal to Umar. He said, did everyone in the army receive a loan like the loan you received? They said, no. Umar ibn al-Khattab then said, two sons of the commander of the faithful are here, and I shall give them a loan. Hand over both the principal of the Prophet. Remained silent, but Ubaydullah said, this is not necessary to be, O commander of the faithful. If there were to be any loss to that wealth, or if it were destroyed, we would have covered it. They both repeated their statements again, with Abdullah remaining silent. Then a man in Umar's gathering said, O commander of the faithful, why don't you make it a silent partnership? He replied, fine, I shall make it a silent partnership. Thus Umar took the principal and half of it, and half of the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Ubaydullah, the two sons of Umar ibn al-Khattab, then kept the remaining half of the Prophet. The labourer is a trustee. Silent partnerships are permissible whether they are unconditional or conditional. The labourer is not held responsible for the principle used unless he transgresses customary behaviour or contravenes what they had agreed upon. And their scholars all agree that the owner of the capital may prohibit the labourer for selling on credit. If he doesn't then sell on credit, he is responsible for that money. The companion of the Messenger of Allah, Hakim, used to stipulate upon his labourer upon giving him wealth to trade with, do not use my money to purchase any animals, do not carry it over the seas, and do not stay with it in a flooded valley. If you do any of those with it, you are then liable for my money. Advance payment, forward purchase. The words as-salam and as-salam have the same meaning in Islamic law. They refer to the purchasing by an advanced payment or described merchandise that the seller must procure. Its legality. Allah has said in the Quran, O you who believe, when you contract a debt for a fixed period, write it down. I bear witness that a guaranteed forward payment for a fixed period has been permitted by Allah in His book. Then he read the verse just quoted. He also stated when the Prophet came to Medina, they would deal in future purchases for dates for a period of 2 and 3 years. The Prophet then said, whoever makes a forward purchase of anything must do so for a specified weight, and for a specified period of time. It is not a condition that the seller actually possesses the merchandise. It is not a condition that the seller actually owns the merchandise for which he has received an advance payment. Sent me to Abdullah ibn, may Allah be pleased with them, and told me to ask him whether the people during the lifetime of the Prophet used to pay in advance for wheat. Abdullah replied, we used to pay in advance to the peasants of Greater Syria for wheat, barley and olive oil for a specified measure, to be delivered in a known specified time period. I asked, was the price paid in advance to those who had the merchandise that they